be looking at the basic components of the domain, and here we go through all the kind of the syllabus is like this. We'll go through these things: common elements of the logic server domain, using domains in enterprise, why exactly we use domains, and what are the concepts behind the using domains. And we'll be looking at the administration and managed servers, what are they, and what exactly their features are. And we'll be creating and configuring a simple domain that we're going to do it at the first place. And we'll be describing the organization and contents of the WLS directory structure. Once the domain is created, we'll be looking at the directory structure, what exactly the each directory specified, and we'll be looking at the WLST basics, WLST introduction, and after that we'll be looking at the domain creation with single managed server, domain creation with administration server, and multiple managed servers. And we'll be looking at the port numbers which are specific for WebLogic server, this thing, we use usage, right? So we'll cover this topic today. It will take a lot of time, and we'll be jumping to this topic tomorrow, I believe. Fine, let's start the session. Okay, let's try to create the domain over here. We have installation over here, right? This is the installation what we had yesterday. And I'll show you the installation of WebLogic server in silent mode as well as generic mode today. Okay, this is the WebLogic server installation. This is the WebLogic middleware home directory till here. This is middleware home directory, and after that we have these directory which are part of the home directory installation. I mean product installation. This contains JDK, JRocket, and the log files which are generated due to installation, and the modules which are used for WebLogic server or different other products as well. And this is a patch WLS 201211 is there, right? This is mainly used for you can keep a repository of patches or bug, whatever the fixes for the bugs. That repository you can keep. However, it is not really used for much of the time. I'll show you how to apply the patch and all those things as well. That is in a different method, and that has a different steps to install the patches. And here utils is the main thing which you require to operate with WebLogic server. If you have any patches to apply, you can use the BSU here. BSU, it will, and for upgrading the WebLogic server also this is used. And utils, okay, utils in this you have smart update and the patch application stuff. And in this, CCR is not really being used, and this is just for storing the, I believe it's a thing in this version or something like that. It's not really being used in the WebLogic server, but this is for a Fusion middleware product inventory. It's used for. And okay, this is uninstall is for uninstalling the product itself, WebLogic server product. And quick start has a, whenever you install the WebLogic server, it will give a kind of window saying that create a WebLogic domain or something like that. That is handled by this one. If you go for quick start, like see, if I go for quick start, it will give options to run the WebLogic server, default WebLogic server domain, like that. Yeah, like this. Getting started with WebLogic server, start WebLogic server 12.1.1. If you do this samples domain, it will start some sample domain which is installed with WebLogic server installation, and it will show you of the things, what exactly it is configured with, all those kind of things. You can explore this later as well. And yeah, utils, this is config, which has a kind of config launch, set domain directories. This is just a default installation which has, you can start up with these kind of things, and you can just have a look at, you can see here this one, set home directories. Quick start is done. Uninstall, to uninstall the product itself completely, you can click on this and you can just uninstall the whole WebLogic server. It will show you that how to uninstall. See, this is for uninstalling. You can click on next and you can install the product. You can do this way. Otherwise, you can do it from the control panel of the Windows, or you can uninstall through Linux as a just you have to remove the directory itself. Okay. Okay, let's jump to the next one. This is the main home directory for the WebLogic installation. This contains all the kind of files which are really required for the WebLogic server domain to run and function. This has common files which are required for all kind of all the servers, all the components in the WebLogic server domain. Just a minute. Okay, it has. You can just look at the directory structure. Okay, this is WL server 12.1. 12.1 has in a similar fashion it will have a 10.3 or something like that. We have installed some other version which is really old from this one. We'll be having the same kind of directory structure, and we'll be having the same kind of directory structure over here as well. So it will have a common directory. It should have a server directory. It should have a uninstalled directory, and these are kind of optional ones. L101 is also kind of directory which it will be having all the time. And samples directory, this is for the domains and the examples which are installed with the WebLogic server. It's just like when you install it the first time, it will not be installed because we have selected the custom mode. We were able to install the sample as well because we were able to select the samples, this thing. Otherwise, what you can do is, if it doesn't get installed the first time, you have to install the WebLogic server second time as well. At that time, you need to extend the domain, extend the installation, or you need to just go to the custom installation. Otherwise, if you don't go also, it will install the samples one, because this is like a option it will keep. If you don't want it, it will not install at the first time because it will think that user doesn't want it. After that, if you are installing for the second time, right, so then it will install the samples as well. We can see that option. Okay, I can show you how that is being done. Right, this is the WebLogic server. If I click on this, you have to click on this again to install the samples if it doesn't get installed the first time. Because we have installed the samples directory, it doesn't show any kind of options. Otherwise, it will show saying that you have not installed the samples one. You can install it now. It gives an option to select the no, I'm not installing, I'm just showing you how exactly the samples can be installed at the later point of time if you did not get the samples directory in the installation. You just have to, because it will identify the installation already. It will identify the installation what you have done on this machine. It will say, see, use an existing middleware home. You have the middleware home, this one, right? Next. See. So we have selected the samples already. Now it will give an option to install the coherence, because we did not select the coherence, right? Last time we didn't want to select the coherence. That's why it's giving the options to select the coherence. Now here also it is not giving the option to select. It did not select the coherence examples. That's why it was in normal installation it skips the server examples. So if you are selecting it again, if you are installing it again, it will give an option to select the server example as well. As we have already selected it, as we have already did it, it is showing that it's kind of faded one. Now it doesn't give any kind of options. If this is already enabled, then it will not. It will give the. It will give it as blank, and you can select the server example. You can install it by saying next, next. Now if I just remove it, it doesn't show anything. See, it's 0 KB. If I don't want to install the coherence now also. If you want to install it, you can select it. You can run next to that. So I don't want to install it. Next. Fine. At least one product or component must be selected. Says. Okay, fine. We don't have anything to install. I'll just exit it over here. Okay. Now we'll look into the next one. Okay. This one. Common. Okay, that is done. Common. In this bin directory, you will have all the kind of executable files like sh files for the Linux purpose and cmd files for the Windows purpose. Linux and Solaris both are same for this WebLogic server. It gives sh file for both of the versions, both of the operating systems, Linux, Solaris, or AIX and HPUX. All those are used for the sh files are used for all those kind of operating systems. But for Windows, CMD files, and it will have all the kind of files. You can have a WLST sh file is there, WLST CMD file is there. You can start WLST with this file, and WebLogic config, WLS config files are there. You can configure. You can just run the script, and you can just configure those things. We can have a look at these files as well. You can just run it, and you can just check what exactly it does uh, by your own, in fact. And here in the common file, we'll normally be using the config file, right? And the common env file, com.env.cmd file, this one, and config.cmd file we'll be using, and we'll be using sometimes config builder.cmd file, which is for building the domain templates. We'll be coming to the next, in fact, next topic it is, and we'll be using the pack command. We'll be using the uh, start manage WebLogic. We won't be using much of the time, however it's required. And this is for Derby database, which is by default it is provided with the WebLogic server, that we'll be using for starting and stopping the Derby database. And unpack command, we'll be using this command for packing the domain from one location to another location in another machine or something like that. And upgrade we'll be using for upgrading the WebLogic server. Most of the commands are used in this common directory, and you will be using for configuring the WebLogic server. This one, WLS if config.cmd, and for WLS starting the WLST, you'll be using this one, WLST.cmd. We'll be looking at the few of the files today itself. And deployable libraries will be stored in this. You can, if you would like to have some different components, like you have a JSF component, you have a top link component in this, top link is also there, and you have JSTL libraries. If you would like to use those kind of features in your application, you can deploy all these, these applications which are already provided with the WebLogic server. You can deploy these applications, deploy these WAR files or jar files in the WebLogic server where you are deploying your applications, and you can make use of these features in your applications. Otherwise, those features won't work until unless you have these libraries installed. Okay, and the Derby, this is a database, default database. The kind of standard database is being provided with WebLogic server to test the WebLogic connectivity. For development purpose, if you would like to have a test with the database, then you can just start this database and you can run with this. You can just have applications running with this. Before Derby, they used to provide point-based. Now they have deprecated it. Point-based they used to provide along with almost like a 9 version or something like that, 9, 10 version. Now they are not providing it. They are providing Derby database now. And for eval, just if you would like to evaluate some kind of software, those kind of softwares are installed. Were copied into this folder, but nowadays they are not providing this. They used to provide some other softwares like eval point-based was a part of eval, so it's not there nowadays. And the library, these are the library files. Library files, so those kind of things you can use. But normally these files are not being used most of the time. In fact, these are library files. components, XML, JNI, macro rules. These are kind of high level files. I mean, not we do not really use in the real world most of the times. And the node manager is a main folder which is being used by the node manager when you install it. If you install node manager for a first time, the node manager files are created in this folder. I'll show you once we come to the node manager concept. This is having a node manager domains by default because it will have a node manager domains as a domain default domain what we have installed. You can see this here. Okay, this is a samples domain. That's why it got copied, and we do not have the domain which we have installed already because we did not configure the node manager for there. So these are all of the sample domain which are got copied. I'll show you the samples domain. These three domains are there: Medrec Spring, Medrec, and WL Server. These three domains are sample domains which are installed with the Weblogic server installation which we have. And okay, I'll show you. I mean, once we come to the node manager concept, we'll be able to study in detail. So quick start, again we have the same thing for the this thing, quick start. Yeah, it comes to the same thing in fact. And the templates, what we have is a as we said, some kind of templates are available with the Weblogic server, right? So what we can do is we can have a domain templates. We have application templates. Like see, we have application templates, and we have a scripts template. Like WC script templates are there. WC scripts are saved into .py format. These are the templates which we can leverage, and we can just have a functionality of the same kind of thing. Like see, basic WLS domain.py. Whenever you start installing the Weblogic server, basic Weblogic server, that Weblogic server will use this kind of basic template. It will have all the kind of instructions. Which py is a Python script here, Python script. So yeah, it's Python and Jython combined script there. WLST is mainly made up of Python and Jython. So these scripts are mainly having the instructions, right? If I show you, these are the Jython and Python kind of commands. What we can see is it just set of commands which are joined together and made into a script. That's it. It's just a set of commands. You can have a kind of logic also involved in this, and it just travels to the domain, navigates the directories and creates the things, creates stuff. You can see here like this: cd directory, assign this, assign that, create, get the value, set the value. Those kind of things will be there. We'll come to the WLST. We will be able to study about this as well, Python. And yeah, these are the Python script templates. We can leverage these templates to have things done. And the database, these will be having the database schemas. Like see, we have a call state SQL, right? SQL commands, SQL scripts will be there. We can leverage the scripts as well, but not much of the scripts are given over here. Right, so now we have a domain templates as well. Like for example, see, you have a replicate domain template, SIP server domain template, WLS template. Normally the domain template, what we're going to create is we will use the WLS.jar. This is the standard domain template which will be used for creating the sample basic domain. We have a different domains as well. You can try it on your own. You can just import the template. I'll show you how. I'll show you how to do that. Import the template and you can install the domain. And we have application templates which are used for, like, if you would like to have a kind of if you install these kind of jar files, so that kind of application functionality you'll be able to get it in your domain. So that is done, and this is a WLST. It has its own library and it has its own modules. So nowadays it's like, see, Jython modules are there. The mainly thing is why WLST is made up of, made up of Jython, right? So it has its own Jython modules, because to run the WLST we need to import the third-party application which is Jython. It's not made up of, it's not made from this thing, WebLogic developers, but yeah, it's a kind of third party, and we need to import this jar file to get the functionalities of WLST that is required. And this is WLST model which what it will do is it will just import the Jython models into the WLST functionality, this file. And okay, we're done with the common and endorse. These are the other different directories which we don't really use into the main functionality of the Weblogic server. You can have a look at these files, but yeah, however, these are not really required. And inventory, it's just a XML inventory it has. And okay, and after that L101, this is just a standard what we use for samples. As we samples, we had a domain samples, right? 3 domain samples what we saw in the nodemanager.domain file, medrec, medrec and WL server. These are the kind of completely fully functional domains. You can use this domain to install your own domain or create your own domain, and the same kind of functionality it will done. Mainly the medrec domains are like samples domain. They have their own application deployed. They have a kind of fully functional application deployed on the Weblogic server, which has a messaging, which has a kind of a complete site developed around it. We can have a samples domain one. We can have a look at it. And the same kind of WL server is the basics Weblogic server domain sample. We can use this sample to, normally we use this sample to create our own Weblogic server domains. If you would like to create medrec type of domain, you can do that as well. And servers, okay, what we okay, samples, samples, it's just SIP server. If you are using kind of session initiation protocol stuff, you can use this as a samples examples. In fact, you can use a SIP server. SIP server complete application is there here. You can deploy this application in this thing, and you can have a SIP server installed in the Weblogic server domain. And right, this is server stuff, I believe. This is not really required. And the server is the main directory. In this thing, you have server and as well as the common. These are very important directories. You must have to, you will be using all the time for servers and the common directories. In server directory, you'll be having the bin directory. This is not really required. This is more of which is required in the Fusion middleware stuff. Whenever the 12c came into picture, so it has a lot of things in the Weblogic server stuff. Okay, so bin directory is the main stuff over here. Here you have main things are install SVC, install node manager SVC. So install node manager SVC is used for installing the node manager as a service and the Windows, right? Because it's a command, you can consider, you can think of it as a Windows command, Windows specific file. So with this, you don't need to have a start and stop manually, because whenever you start the Windows, you can set it to automatic. The services, like here, you'll get it here. Services dot, yeah, this is the one. You can have the Weblogic server, node manager, and the manage server or the admin server installed over here in the Windows services. We can look into that as well. We'll be looking into that as well. And you can start the services from here itself, like say click on this, start the service, like that. You'll be having the Windows services over here for the Weblogic server and the node managers. You can start the node manager from this also. To facilitate that, these files are required to install the node manager service, to install the Weblogic as a service, Weblogic server as a service. These commands facilitate that. And we will have we have set env.exe. It sets the environment for the Weblogic server. Whenever you have any kind of commands to run for the Weblogic server, it sets the environment. We have some other as well. See, you have this one is the major one, set WLS environment. If you run this one, I'll show you how to do that. You have to do like this. You have to go to the command, Windows command processor, go into here, paste it. Okay, you came here, you just have to go into D directory, right? Let me just I think you're able to see my screen, right? Okay, D drive we are in. Now, yeah, we just came to that directory. Now you just have to execute like this. Set wlscnv.cmd. Once you execute like this, your environment will be set. Once you see this, you'll be able to get the complete environment, complete class path and path values. You can see over here, it contains WLS training, what we have installed, the patch WLS, patch directory as well, because we, whenever, whatever the files are there in the patch directory, it will be installed over there, and WebLogic patch directory, patch.jar, and here you have a JRocket. I believe JRocket is there, right? JRocket library tools.jar is required for the WebLogic server, and you have WebLogic sp.jar. The main important file in the path is weblogic.jar file. This is really required. This is the main important file. If it is not there, then you won't be able to start the server. You won't be able to work any kind of stuff with the server. So just a minute. I think somebody came to. I'll be back. Just a minute. Hey, sorry guys, I'm back. Okay, this is the. You guys able to hear me, right? Okay. So once you set the environment, you'll be able to see this file, see this kind of stuff, class path, and the path will get loaded, and you'll be able to see the what you'll be able to execute any kind of commands with WebLogic server. Let me show you the small example. I'll just I've copied this thing, right? I'll show you in a small example how exactly it works. Okay, here if I execute Java WebLogic admin, I'll come to this part later. What it shows could not find or load main class weblogic.admin. Now what I'll do is I'll just do traverse to the directory. See, I'll just go to the directory, paste it, right? Okay, I'll just go to this D drive, and after that I'll do set wlscnv. I'll execute it. Now I'll execute the same command. Do you see something else? It sets the environment. It sets the WebLogic server environment, and it makes the console enabled. I mean, it can enable the console for running the WebLogic server this thing specific commands. You see something else, right? Right. So it's just a small example. We'll be able to see a lot of about this in fact later. And after that, we have start node manager.cmd. Once you create the node manager, you will be starting the node manager from here only. Once you start the node manager, it will be available for the server start. I'll come to the node manager concept as well. Okay. And uninstall node manager. If you want to uninstall the services which you have installed in the Windows, right? So you can uninstall the services from these commands, like uninstall node manager service command, uninstall node manager, uninstall service. So you can use these commands. And these others are not really this thing. These are icon files. These are just image files, in fact. Okay, and server bin is over. DB it's database stuff. Like see, you can have these are the databases which are uh, by default supported, in fact, but there are other also supported, but however only these databases are database supports are provided for now. But however other databases are also supported. They have provided the library files for these kind of database, etc. DB2, Informix, MS SQL, MySQL, Oracle, CBase. Right. Now extension. So if you would like to add any kind of extension over this, I mean extension over the WebLogic server, where is the Derby DB? Derby DB we have seen there. We have seen over here Derby DB. Common, no. Inventory, no inventory, where it is. Yeah, here it is. This is Derby database. It's complete Derby database. Right, the servers, okay. These are the databases which are supported, we have seen. And extension include, these are the include files. You can use it for including into the your this thing weblog. You mean the database in XML? No, it's not in XML. XML it will have some kind of configuration. That's it. It will not have a XML this thing. This one you mean? Yeah, this is the database actually. This is the database installation. When you install the product, the database, the Derby database, it will be like this. Derby database is a very small database. It's not a big one, in fact. It just we can see this over here. You can see here start Derby. Yeah, start Derby is there itself. If you just yeah, here it is. I'll show you how to do that. It installs. It starts the Derby database. In fact, start network server. See, it is starting the database. It should be. I'm not really sure about MS Access. I have used it long back. Yeah, inbuilt database, exactly. Inbuilt database. Inbuilt, you cannot say inbuilt for the WebLogic server. However, it has provided the database just for testing purpose. In fact, it's not really inbuilt into the WebLogic server. It's completely separate, but it provides access to this database with some kind of parameters, some kind of URLs like that. Now Apache Derby network server, it's available on 1527. You can have a connection to the Derby database. Let it be running. I'll show you how to connect to that as well, connect to the database as well. But I need to understand the Oracle. This thing, yeah, it should be there here. Okay, let's see. Fine. This is the database we have seen. This is just database start network server we did, and we started the database. And where are we? Okay, bin. WLS211 server. Now locale, you must be aware of the locale. What exactly is the locale? Those things are. It's just for operating system purpose. Operating system specific locales will be there, like language locales or something like that. These are just primarily useful in the WebLogic server functionality. These are used internally, in fact. So whatever the files are in this server directory, those are mainly required for the WebLogic server WebLogic server functionality. And these are the lib files which are loaded whenever the server starts. I mean the domain starts, something like that. So if you would like to make the library files available for the whole domain, then you can just add the lib files into this directory, server lib directory. Otherwise, you have option to make the library files available for the particular server as well. You can drop into that lib directory, in the server's lib directory. Once you create the domain, you'll be able to see that. Okay, this is the lib, and locale, as I said, native is the mainly thing which is installed when you install WebLogic server for a particular operating system. Then that kind of native libraries are used for uh, installed for that operating system. I mean, only the Windows specific native libraries are installed. If you install it for Linux, the Linux operating system specific native libraries installed like that. Because as I said, WebLogic servers are different different versions. What types of they have, like .exe file that is made for Windows, like jar file which is made for all the kind of operating system. However, it's generic one. You will not be able to install the Java with that. You need to have the Java before that as well. And as per that only, if you install the binary mode, I mean .bin mode for the WebLogic server, it will be having a Linux installation, Linux native libraries in the same path where you are seeing the Windows native libraries. In this, you'll be having a Windows 32 native libraries. I have installed 32-bit of Windows, 32-bit of installation of the WebLogic server. That's why the 32-bit libraries are installed over here. These libraries are mainly used when WebLogic server is interacting with the operating system. Got it. So WL file IO3, this is for input output, this is for environment setting, this is for a key tool. Whenever you are using the key tool to generate the SSL certificate, that is this is being used at that point of time. And JMS specific thing, this is being used. Just okay. And after this, okay, sorry. Right. So some of the native libraries which are being used for some specific native functions, which is the operating system, and that is okay. If you are installing kind of Linux or something, then the Linux kind of Linux specific native libraries are installed. I'll show you the Linux installation also once we come to the these kind of stuff, this kind of library structure. And this is admin console. You can access the admin console directly over here. And the online documentation, if you have, if you like to specify, look into the online documentation, you can just access this one. You can look into the online documentation from here itself. It will be given as a for that particular version. You can see that this is the online documentation. And the WebLogic, this is the same kind of thing. You can just go through all this kind of. If you have any kind of doubts, let me know. This is WebLogic specific. Okay, let's start creating the domain, because we are running out of time. If you have any kind of questions, let me know. Okay, to create the domain, just look into the procedure here. I'll go through the domain creation through console GUI mode today. So you have to come to this product directory 12.1.1. After that, you go into this one. Whatever the functionalities, what we do is we just go into this directory. Okay, go into the common directory. After that, bin directory, because to create the domain, you will have all the kind of features, all the kind of files in the bin directory itself. Okay, now here you have a config.cmd. This is for configuring the domain. Creating, configure domain, both are same. Run with administration access. Okay, this is domain creation. Okay, you can see here it is asking for creating a new WebLogic domain or extending WebLogic domain. Creating new WebLogic domain, if you don't have any kind of templates with you, I mean, if you'd like to create a new your own domain with your own specification, then you can go with this one. Otherwise, if you have a templates already defined, if your company has given you the template, like it has, with the template has two managed servers, one admin server and one node manager, everything which is copied into the template, then that template is being given to you. Then you can do the extending template. If you would like to use the template and you want to add the templates to add some kind of any kind of extra resources to that template, then we can use this option, extending an existing WebLogic domain, that you can do. Otherwise, what you have is, if you have installed already a domain and you have already installed domain and you would like to extend that domain, right? So you can use this. You can use this option for that. Let's go for the create domain, create WebLogic domain. Let's create it. We'll create the simple domain first place. See, it's a basic WebLogic server domain is there. These others are also there provided because we have SIP server domain also. If we select the SIP server domain, the SIP server application was there, right? That will be installed into this domain. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing extra will be done. But specific features will be added as per the SIP server specification. And if we install the basic WebLogic web services domain, then JAX RPC extension are also installed in this thing. And the same way this JAX web services as well. So this is the default one. It should be there. It must be selected. That's why it's grayed out. So we don't have any option to remove that option. So let's start with that option. That will be like basic WebLogic server, plain. It will be plain simple WebLogic server domain will be installed. So next. So you can name your domain here. I'll just name basic domain. This kind of naming functionality you can use, naming specification you can use like B caps and after that D. This is kind of a standard specification from the Oracle or BE you can say. So this will be created in this directory. See, till here we know about it. We'll know that this is a home directory. After this directory will be created, user projects directory will be created, and after this domain directory will be created. Domains directory will be, under this the domain will be created. You can specify the domain directory somewhere else as well as per your requirement. I'll go with the standards. Okay, now here you need to provide the name of the user. You can give admin, you can give WebLogic, you can give anything you want, and the password I'll give WebLogic 123. You can give any kind of password for the administration user. Next, here. So development mode and this production mode. There are two modes in the WebLogic server installation, like development and production mode. I'll come to that mode, come to that thing. See, this is the development mode and the production mode differences. Production mode we'll be able to see once we are in the development mode as well as the production mode. Production mode, it runs with, it doesn't accept the demo SSLs. In fact, it doesn't have any kind of demo SSL concept, because WebLogic server, whenever it installs domain, it will come up with a demo SSL. Because if you would like to test with kind of SSL, you don't have SSL certificate in place at that point of time, you can use the demo SSL. You can see the SSL functionality in the WebLogic server. So for that purpose, they have provided the SSL certificates, the demo SSL certificate, which are not really kind of specific to your own environment, but yeah, that's kind of a demo SSL certificate. You can have a SSL connection on this demo SSL certificate, but in the production mode, it is not being recommended. And the production mode, the auto deployment feature is not there because it's a production stuff, and the production modes are normally used in production environments. So auto deployment features are not there. Auto deployment feature is mainly used for development purpose, because whenever the application developer develops an application and he SSL is secure socket layer. If you would like to have a secure connection over the applications, like you don't want somebody to hack your application, somebody to crack your code or something like that, then you can have that SSL connection, secure socket layer connection. We will come to that part in detailed session, in fact. So that is a kind of a channel to channel connection. If you would like to, for example, if you are doing some kind of bank transaction, like if you are doing some online transaction, if you are transferring your money to somebody else, so somebody else should not see, or you are logged into the net banking, right? Net banking, somebody else should not be seeing your this thing, what username, passwords, all those kind of things. That is highly visible to the sniffers who are sitting in the middle of the connection, who will be hacking your connections, because you will be logging into the browser, you will be typing hdfcbank.com, all those things, but somebody else will be there who will be just sniffing your connections, who will be just looking into your this thing, your connections, your what key logging, all those things, like what exactly you're typing, what exactly your username, what exactly your password, so that they can easily weave your passwords, your account, all those kind of things. They'll be able to see that. So to avoid that, what we have is we have SSL connection, which will be like strongly encrypted format. Your passwords will be highly invisible, or it will be visible in the format of encrypted stuff. It will not be in the password format, but it will be in the clear text format. It will be kind of encrypted letters. I mean, different letters. So that is that kind of functionality the SSL provides. That will be like 64-bit encryption and 128-bit encryption. Those kind of things will be there in the SSL. We'll be able to see that SSL later. And in this, lock and edit feature is not there. I'll show you what is this lock and edit feature. We'll come to this part once again once we are into the console mode. And development mode, this mode is just, you need to understand at this point of time is development mode is for developers, right? And it doesn't have to do anything with the production mode. That's it. And the production mode is like production ready. Once the application is ready, and once the application is ready for user access, then you can use those applications in the production mode of the Weblogic server. I'll tell you what exactly. And this JRocket, yeah, JRocket is recommended over here because the high performance of the JVM. JRocket is recommended. Here you can use the SunJDK, not a problem. And more number of default threads and connection pools are provided over here. I mean, the default settings are connection pools, and for the connection threads are default settings are little more higher than as compared to the production mode. I'll show you that as well. And lock and edit feature is there, not auto deployment. Auto deployment is only for development purpose and not for production purpose. Okay, that we're going to select it here. We'll go with the development for now. I'll show you how exactly the auto deployment feature is, and there will not be lock and edit feature. I'll show you the production mode in the later part. So see, if I select the development mode, it by default selects the SunJDK, because it's not really mandatory that you need to use JRocket over here. But if I select the production mode, it by default selects the JRocket. Got it? So JRocket, you can select SunJDK also. However, the JRocket is recommended. That's why it gives the option to select the JRocket. So I'll select the development mode and SunJDK. See, SunJDK came. If you would like to have some other JDK which is already installed in your this thing, then you can select this. Next. I'll go with development mode. Tomorrow we will have a extended class and we'll be able to study further into this. And I'll just install the administration server. We can install the managed server later. In fact, administration server is a mandatory thing. If you don't install also, it will get installed. If you need to, I mean, it will get installed by default, administration server. So administration server, that is right. I'll just select this. Next. The thing is, you can ask me, I mean, what if I don't select this, what will happen? It will install, but with the default settings, like 7001 will be the port number, and it will install by default, but you'll not be able to know the how to log in, all those things, because it will be difficult for you to change the port number, all these things. You will have login details, all these things, but it will be difficult for you to change the port number. You will have to look into the lot of details. But if you select over here, this is kind of a bug. In fact, I mean, in this version, they did not. They have to give the option to select it mandatorily, right? So next, I'll select the only administration server. You can name the administration server like anything else, and the 7001 is the default port for the administration server to run. And if you would like to enable the SSL, 7002 is the port. I don't want to enable for now. I'll just enable the 7001 listen port. It is non-SSL port. In fact, it's not really encrypted, not really kind of secure. I'll go ahead with this. And this one, listen address. Listen address is all local address. It says I can use it on my IP address, my local host, and these are the interfaces which are really being provided, but we don't use on this. But the IP address and the local host and 127.0.0.1, that is by default the loopback address, which I can set. I can work on that as well with this console. Okay, let me select the all local addresses, whatever the local address is provided. I'll say next, and I'll say yes, create. This is the summary it's being provided, what exactly it's going to create. If you would like to have any kind of help over this, you can look into the help as well. Create. I'll create the domain. Have any questions? Okay, now the domain is created. You can start the domain over here. It will show that, yeah, extracting the domain contains content creating the domain security information, all these things. Domain security is different and the SSL is different. You don't get confused with this. SSL is just for the application security, and the domain security is for application server security. Okay, and SSL is used mainly for security for applications deployed in the domain. However, the domain security, which has kind of user security, all those kind of things. And after that, you have a domain location over here. Domain location, it gives as we we've installed in fact, and this is HTTP admin. See, if I start the server, you'll be able to access the console over here. I'll start the server. The server is starting. Now I'll access it. To access the console, now server is starting. You can see here it loads the patches, whatever the patches available already with this. I have installed the product, right, so I did not install any patches, but there are temporary patches which are already being shipped with this version, so they are getting installed. Patches will be installed at the first place. I'll allow the access for this Java. Okay, now it is kind of running mode. Once you see this running mode, you just need to make sure that the server is running. This running mode, it will be like this. Okay, and it's saying that admin server for domain, the basic domain is running. Got it. So now we just, I believe it should access, yeah, now it is accessing the console, but this is not a standard thing. You need to access the console on the IP address or the local host. Local host is better because we have installed on the local laptop, local machine. So we will be, see, now this is a version. This is a console login screen. So we have successfully created the domain, we have successfully started it. See, this is startweblogic.cmd file. We have startweblogic.cmd. You can, if you would like to start the domain later, we have option to start weblogic.cmd. I'll show you the domain contents. See the running mode, it came to long way to start the server. It starts each and every component, starts on different ports. Like see, you can see IOP port, it starts T3 LDAP ports, it starts SNMP port, HTTP port, everything it starts, and it has its own different ports. You can see over here, even this on this address also you can access this. This is kind of interface address, what we can say is, and right. So here we got the console. Let's log into that. Weblogic is the username, Weblogic 123 is the command. Okay. It's logging in. So once you access the console, it will deploy the application first. Even this console is also itself is application which is deployed over the admin server or the Weblogic server. So now you can see here, I'll save the password for later use. Here this is a change center. In the production mode, you will have a lock and edit feature over here. So whenever you are doing any kind of changes over here, you can just take a lock and you can change the things. So that you can save the changes. Like that. But in development mode, it is not there. We have installed the development mode over here. It's not there. And here the domain structure, it is servers, clusters, virtual host, migratable targets. All these things are there. So normally the main components are servers, clusters, and machines. Machines are called node manager as well. And servers are managed servers, and admin servers will be having. Admin server is the main component which controls all the kind of configuration. And clusters, you can turn the managed servers into cluster. You should not add the admin server into cluster. You only should have to add the managed servers into cluster, so that we will get the basic functionality. Virtual host, for providing the virtual host functionality for the servers. Virtual host we can create we can have a different addresses for the servers. And this is migratable targets. If we have if you have servers with different machines, you can have the migratable migratable services like JMS servers, all those things. You can migrate the services from one server to another server on the different machine, like JMS services, JDBC services, and SAF services, those kind of things. And here it is deployments. Work manager is the one more concept which came recently in the 9 or 10 versions of Weblogic servers. We'll come to that as well. Deployments, whatever the application you deploy, will be deployed over here. And the services, here you will be able to see the database services, messaging services, XML services, JCOM, mail session, file retrieval. We won't be using all the things, but however, database services and the messaging services are mandatory things we'll be using. JTA services and the security DLMs. This is for providing the security for WebLogic server, creating the users, creating the groups, creating the authentication providers for having LDAP authentication, all those kind of things. We'll be using this one. And interoperability, this is for using third-party vendor things, third-party or some different technology stuff into WebLogic server. This is mainly used. And this is diagnostics. If something happens with WebLogic server, if something like some problems are with the WebLogic server, then you can use these things like to monitor the WebLogic server environment, diagnose the issues, log files you can check, SNMP traps you can have. SNMP will be looking at it, and log files also will be looking at it, and the diagnostic modules will have a look at it. So this is the main thing, and this is the home feature. Whatever things are there here, you'll be able to see here. You can see servers cluster, you can see messaging services, you can see diagnostic, you can see whatever interoperability. And this is logout. You have logged in, right? You can log out over here. Preferences is the console preferences. You can have a preferences like what exactly you need to see in the console or those kind of things. So those things are there. Preferences you can set over here. It's basically it doesn't do anything with the servers, but just deals with the console thing. Preferences and record. If you would like to record the commands wherever you are going, like for example in the WLC format, I can just select this record. It will be saved over here. You can see it will be saved in this script. Wherever I go, I'll just go here. I'll just go here. I'll just do something. We'll just do localhost set here. Set the lesson address, and I'll save it. Now recording is being done. Now it say that one item must be restarted to check. If some of the parameters are there. If it does look like this parameter, like this icon, then it needs a restart once you change this. It needs to restart the server. To restart the server, what you can do is you can just Control C, kill it. Control C, you can do it. Yes, and I'll start weblogic.cmd. By doing this, you can start the server again. If you got it, fine. This is server is started again, and I'll be able to see the console again. I'll be logged out. Once I restart the server, I'll be logged out. I'll have to log in again. See, it will ask for login again, and we'll see that this thing script where it is. Okay, fine. It is in the domain directory 12.1.1. See, user projects got created. Under this domains got created. Under this basic domain is got created. Here it is. The script is. If you open this, you will see the steps where I have gone. See, set listen address localhost, set enabled, false, activate, started it. So this is kind of format. Whenever if you find difficulty in creating the WLC script, you can do like this. You can record the stuff. You can add your own commands in this. So it's very a beautiful feature in the WebLogic server, recording the interactions, and it will record into the WebLogic scripting tool. Fine, guys. I think I need to wrap up over here. I need to just stop over here so that we can have some kind of questions. In tomorrow's session, we'll be having kind of extended session. We'll be looking into the details, the domain and the server's environment, all those things. If you have any kind of questions, please